Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to summarize a story that, well, you probably think you already know inside out, but we're going to look at it through an entirely new lens. We're exploring the ancient Quranic narrative of Adam and Hawa, or Eve. But we aren't just looking back in time here, we're actually looking into a mirror. Because as we summarize this really profound story, we're going to discover that it serves as a surprisingly exact blueprint for navigating the immense complexities of our modern world today.
Okay, let's dive into this. It's a completely fair question to ask. What on earth could an ancient story about a garden and a forbidden tree possibly teach us about very specific modern challenges, like social media, cancel culture, and climate change? Well, I promise you, as we trace this chronological journey of the very first humans, it is going to immediately and powerfully mirror your 21st century reality. The exact challenges they faced at the literal dawn of creation, they are the exact same human challenges that we are scrolling through on our feeds right now.
Section 1. Paradise and Earth Stewards.
So, to summarize this story properly, we've got to start at the very beginning. According to the narrative, Adam and Hawa were placed in paradise. But alongside this incredibly blissful existence, they were given a very specific, profound responsibility for the future, and it's captured perfectly in this one term, Khalifa. Now, this doesn't mean owner. It actually means a steward, a caretaker, or a vicegerent. Basically, humanity was designed to preserve the earth, not to just possess it or consume it recklessly. Adam and Hawa were given this mandate to cultivate and care for their surroundings. It basically set the baseline, actually scratch that. It set the absolute blueprint for what human purpose was meant to look like.
Now, let's bring that directly into our modern era. Right now, we really struggle globally with an exploitation mindset. I mean, it's the driving force behind climate change, severe pollution, and massive resource depletion. We've kind of acted like owners who can just take whatever we want whenever we want it. But contrast that with the intended preservation mindset, that ancient mandate of the Khalifa we just talked about. This story is urging a massive absolute shift in how we view our home today. It's a wake-up call to return to our original responsibility, moving away from exploitation and stepping right back into our role as caretakers with a real sense of global responsibility.
Section 2. Iblis and Modern Arrogance.
Okay, so moving the narrative forward, in the next pivotal moment, Allah commands the angels to bow to Adam, basically out of respect for his knowledge and his role. The angels obey, but a jinn named Iblis outright refuses. And his fateful justification for this disobedience, it echoes super loudly today. He says, "I am better than him because I was created from fire and he from clay." It's literally the birth of arrogance. His ultimate downfall wasn't a lack of understanding at all. It was rooted entirely in this false sense of superiority over origins. And because of this, he gets cursed, but he requests a respite to basically tempt humanity away from the right path.
And this brilliantly illustrates what we can call the Iblis mentality today. I mean, we live in an age totally dominated by social media and status seeking, right? Think about it. How often do we define our own worth just by comparing ourselves to others? How often do we see deep societal polarization simply because people look down on those who differ from them in background or ideology or lifestyle? They're essentially saying, hey, my fire is better than your clay. This ancient arrogance is a seriously destructive force. And true strength in our modern world, it requires the exact opposite. It requires humility and recognizing the inherent dignity in every single human being.
Section 3. The Power of Knowledge.
Now, a really core part of this ancient narrative is that Allah taught Adam the names of all things. This establishes knowledge as the key characteristic that elevates humanity. It's the very thing that makes Adam capable of fulfilling that caretaker role. But here is the critical modern parallel for us. Today, we live in the information age. We literally have more data at our fingertips right now than any generation in human history. But, as you probably know, having unlimited information is definitely not the same thing as having wisdom. Possessing tons of data means absolutely nothing without the ethical framework to actually discern right from wrong. We need that wisdom to use our advanced technology to benefit humanity rather than just, creating more noise.
Section 4. Temptation in the Modern World. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can directly map this critical turning point to our daily lives. So Adam and Hawa were completely free in paradise, with just one single exception, a forbidden tree. Iblis, totally fueled by jealousy, deceives them with false promises, and they make the fateful decision to break that limit. We can map that ancient forbidden fruit directly to modern desire. Think about it. Our entire world is built on the architecture of temptation. It's constant advertising, the relentless pressure to have it all, the urge to take those shady ethical shortcuts for quick success. The forbidden tree represents boundaries that are actually set for our own well-being.
It teaches us that some things, even if they look incredibly attractive and promise us the absolute world, are ultimately harmful to our character.
Section 5. Repentance beyond cancel culture.
The immediate aftermath of eating the fruit is so profound. Adam and Hawa realize they disobeyed, and then they're sent down to earth. But they don't double down on their mistake. They immediately feel deep remorse, they take full responsibility, and they offer a really vital supplication for mercy instead of just falling into despair. And this starkly contrasts with our modern cultural climate. In today's cancel culture, people are routinely and almost permanently defined by their absolute worst mistakes, with often zero space for forgiveness. But true repentance tells a completely different story. It's a story of continuous hope. Look, we are meant to make mistakes. That's just part of being human. But we are defined by how we take responsibility, how we learn, and how we ultimately grow from them. Making a mistake doesn't define your whole life. How you respond to it definitely does.
Section 6. Choosing your path today.
To bring this all together, when we really summarize this story, we see that the journey from the garden to earth wasn't just some physical displacement or a punishment that doomed humanity. No, it was the very beginning of the human quest for purpose in a world filled with real challenges and real choices. So if this ancient story is a blueprint for the modern human, you are constantly being asked to make a choice. Will you choose the path of arrogance, self-interest, and that Iblis mentality? Or will you step up and choose the path of humility, earth stewardship, and constant, hopeful growth? How does viewing your daily choices through this ancient mirror actually shift the way you live your 21st century life? Think about that the next time you scroll, the next time you consume, and honestly, the next time you make a mistake. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.